Yeah. Mental health is important not only during COVID-19, but I think it's important right from tomb to womb of a human being. So today we are going to discuss about mental health during this COVID-19 pandemic, as this was suggested by the organizers. And all of us know today is the eve of World Mental Health Day. Tomorrow is 10th October, and that is World Mental Health Day. It is an initiative of World Federation for Mental Health, and this day was first time observed in the year 1992 with an objective of raising awareness about mental health around the globe. In the year 1992, there was no theme. 93 also there was no theme. In the year 1994, for the first time, World Mental Health Day was celebrated with a theme being improving quality of mental health services throughout the world. And then onwards, we had themes like children and mental health, women and mental health and aging, mental health at work, innumerable themes. And as all of you know, last year we had the theme of promotion of mental health and prevention of suicides. That is, the exact is mental health promotion and prevention of suicides. And as all of us know, World Mental Health Day 2020, the theme is mental health for all. Greater investment, greater access. In this today's scenario of COVID-19 crisis, it is the need for greater investment is more important and more pertinent today than it had been ever earlier. And mental health is needed to ensure everyone everywhere should have access to the mental health care. Hence, it is very pertinent theme of mental health for all, as well as focus on greater investment and greater access. The crisis of worldwide COVID-19 pandemic arose against the dire mental health status around the world. A survey report indicates 450 million people are suffering with mental disorders of some kind, and which is one of the leading cause of ill health and disability in the world. Hence, greater investment in mental health is essential, is a priority. Most of the countries around the world spend about 3% of their health budget on mental health, and developing countries spend less than 1% of their health budget on mental health. It is important for all of us to know investment in mental health is an investment. It is not an expense, because the results far outweigh the money spent. It enhances the functioning of an individual, enhances the productivity, hence the yield can be much better. Hence, investment in mental health should be considered as a global priority. And it is, may I submit to this august body that mental health investment is not just the responsibility of the governments or the health professionals or the doctors. It involves all the stakeholders. To tell the least, it is responsibility for all of us, each one of us. Let us look back to ourselves. how much untapped resource we are towards the mental health. We, each one of us can contribute significantly to the mental health investment. May I also submit, World Mental Health Day is not an event for one day. It is a continuous process. And may I request, let all of us unitedly voice this greater investment and greater access agenda and keep moving forward to see that we make mental health a global priority and a reality for all, everyone, everywhere. As all of us know that this outbreak of COVID-19 coronavirus has shoved humanity into existential peril around the globe. And today we see world is experiencing unprecedented mental health consequences due to the impact of COVID-19 on billions of people. Today we are faced with an international health crisis. And let's look at the reality of it. Actually, whatever problems COVID-19 pandemic has created is just, it is on mental health concerns or on normal people, all of us who are facing an extraordinary stress. We are all in the normal situation, pushed to face a extraordinary situation.
Good morning, Saroj ma'am.
Hence, yes, sir.
Madam, we are not able to see your face, ma'am.
Okay, should I? Okay.
Saroj ma'am, we request you to please sit down, ma'am.
Okay.
Saroj ma'am, we request you to please sit down because we are feeling very
That's good, ma'am.
uncomfortable.
That's nice, ma'am. That's nice.
Okay, now you
Thank you,
can
ma'am.
see.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know. I'm so used to standing and talking, so I thought. Fine. Okay, so as I was saying, this mental health concerns due to COVID-19 are on the normal people in an extraordinary stressful situation. And these mental health problems are complex and myriad. It's not just one problem. We have, as we all of us know, we have emotional difficulties like anxiety, depression, sadness, which also induces biological effects like appetite and sleep disturbances, as well as behavioral problem of substance abuse, alcoholism. And in India, the first reaction was fear and a sense of imminent danger due to pandemic. All of us even today feel that we are not sure whether we are asymptomatic and when we are going to have the infection. Who will transmit to us, how we will get. So this kind of an underlying imminent danger and fear is being experienced by everyone. So as we understand that it is basically the mind which is experiencing this, so we are disturbed in our emotions, in our thoughts, and in our behaviors. As all of us know, mental health is is a complex of both biological, psychological, and social. And that is how, when we are disturbed, our biology gets affected. That is, our sleep, appetite, physical health gets affected. And psychological components are mostly, it starts with the self-concept, self-confidence, how much we have developed ourselves. And that leads to self-esteem and self-efficacy. And another major problem is with the interpersonal relationship and the coping skills. And because of the pandemic, we also have social problems because of isolation, social distancing, and schools being closed. People are not able to meet each other. So all this together leads to mental health issues. As I already said, COVID-19 is a major stressor for most of the humanity, and we are all normal to face this situation. Now let's understand the dynamics. Basically, what happens, it's an overlapping psychological problem. We feel sad, we feel depressed, we feel anxious. And that leads us to reduce this. People will go for certain behaviors like alcoholism or suicidal thoughts, depression. These all things can happen. It's an overlapping. It's a vicious circle. If you feel anxiety, if one does not know how to allay the anxiety, it leads to different disturbances. And as I said, since we are all in a normal situation, facing an extraordinary situation, vast majority of them recover spontaneously, maybe with brief psychological interventions, where we have a role to play to help the society today in this critical situation. Many of us are aware that we think mind has tripartite aspects: the cognitive, affective, and the cognitive. Cognitive refers to the intellectual abilities, that is the thinking, reasoning, problem solving abilities, and the emotion refers to feelings of love, hate, and the behaviors accordingly. Human beings think, feel, and behave simultaneously. Most of the time, intellect dominates, that is the cognitive component dominates, but mind, all of us know mind is the most interesting phenomena. It is the most fascinating, and it's very difficult to understand. So there are times when emotions rule or behavior rules, and that can lead to problems. Whether somebody is skeptical, we are being ruled 24/7 by mind. If we are sitting here today in this session, it is because of our mind. Now, I wish to compare this mind in a picturesque analogy with a chariot. The charioteer, that is Sarthi, jo rath chalata hai, is the intellect. He holds the reins, he gives directions to the horses which way to go. That is how our intellect, we plan, we think, and we do things. But sometimes emotions and behavior rules. And this is where, think of this chariot. Charioteer has a nap. He just has a small nap. What will happen? The horses will go hayway. There is chaos. They may fall into a ditch. That is exactly what happens in life. When we are ruled by emotions or behavior, chances of chaos is there. I'll give an example of the young friends of mine. When they fall in love, when a girl or boy falls in love, they are ruled by emotions. They are not ruled by cognition. Once we are ruled by emotions, chances are things may happen good or may happen not so good. So I know many of my students or my friends telling me that his eyes are beautiful, hence I am in love. She is so and so, so I am in love. See, there is no reasoning. It is emotions rule. And when emotions rule, what I wish to submit to the professionals is deal with emotions. Most of the time, parents and everyone, suppose a student comes to me during exams and has problem with the love affair, says, I don't want to write the exam. So everybody will advise, first write the exam, then you can go for your love relationship. No, it's not that. What I'm trying to say is that when there are emotional disturbances, please don't give counseling on intellectual basis, reasoning. We have to deal with emotions. We have to understand, empathize with the person about the emotions. And whenever we ourselves also has, say, emotional problems, we need to deal with our emotions, not wish off. Most of the time, what we do is we say, don't be emotional. No, emotions are human being. We cannot say, love is very good. We cannot say, don't love. No. Only thing is, at that minute, we need to deal with emotions. then cognitive component itself comes to fore and the person can think. But most of the time, we, instead of dealing with emotions, deal with intellect. And hence, the counseling is not effective. So in our own lives, when we have issues, it is emotionally what I'm trying to say is this COVID-19 has created a lot of emotional disturbances. And somebody whom you meet or a friend will say, don't worry, you better do your things. That is, don't worry is not the answer. A person is feeling worried, a person is apprehensive, person is anxious. You need to deal with that worry, anxiety, not wish off or push off, say reassure, saying that don't worry. No, this will not happen. Just a minute. So it is very important to understand how this mind functions and accordingly. So for example, even if the behavior rules, for example, if somebody is angry with somebody or is fighting, takes a dagger and kills the person and then regrets. That is, that minute that aggression works, not the intellect. And that is where it goes, there is chances of chaos when emotions and behavior rule. But we need to deal with that. There is nothing bad about emotions ruling or behavior ruling, because we are all human beings ruled by mind. And this is likely to happen to all of us. Okay, so we are under stress because of the present scenario. So it is not the stress per se that kills us, it is our reactions to it. And we need to help people to understand the emotions of the stress and not say it's no point having stress. All of us have stress. And psychological stress disturbs the thinking, the emotions, and the judgment. So all the three gets affected, and hence one may not function properly. There can be dysfunctions in our day-to-day work. Hence, we need to deal with first emotions, then the thought and the judgment will settle by itself. In the sense, it will be in the right direction. I've already said emotional disturbances, anxiety, worry. What actually it is the underlying is helplessness, the feeling of helplessness. See, when we are not very sure about this, we have got a lot of information, but from where the virus will come, how it will affect us, when we get infected, this is something like a uncontrolled situation, feeling of helplessness. That is what causes, you don't know how to control, one doesn't know what to do. So that basic feeling is feeling of no control, feeling of helplessness, that is leading to all these emotional disturbances, dysfunctional behaviors, sleep and appetite disturbances. Yeah, if this state continues, that is, this stress continues, and we are in emotional disturbances of anxiety, fear, sadness, chances are it can progress to mental disorders, like anxiety disorders. I'll take a minute here to explain. Basically, underlying all psychological disorders or mental disorders or psychological problems is anxiety. It is that anxiety, that feeling of apprehension, anticipation of something bad will happen. See, when you get up in the morning, people will think, when you put your foot down from the bed, is something bad going to happen? That fear of apprehension, that it is what, and then anxiety also has associated physical symptoms like palpitations, sweating, butterflies in the stomach, and then dizziness, these feelings of low feeling. So basically it is the anxiety which causes most of the disorders. If you look at any disorder, for example, even schizophrenia, it's nothing but heightened continued anxiety. That leads to imbalance of the mental functions, even the biochemical functions, the metabolic functions. Hence, we have the thought disorders and the mood disorders and psychomotor disorders. So basically, why I'm stressing this is that if because of this COVID, if we have anxiety, we need to deal with it. We need to help people to deal with their anxiety, because if long drawn anxiety and stress can cause psychosomatic disorders, physical disorders like diabetes, irritable bowel syndrome, cardiac problems, asthma, all these have start is with anxiety, and that leads to stress and anxiety, and that untreated, left as it is, leads to any of the psychosomatic, physical or mental disorders. Hence we need to look, base is anxiety, and anxiety comes with the feeling of helplessness. You can't do anything. So we have to deal with that. We have to help people to reduce. I don't say we can help people to completely get out of it, because each situation can cause stress and anxiety. And because of this COVID-19, we can have panic disorders, phobias, fear, what will happen. See, phobias otherwise also. Suppose somebody has a phobia of flying. What is that? Basically, it is anxiety. When I crash, when I fall, what will happen? OCD. If I don't do obsessive or compulsive action again and again, anxiety, something bad will happen. So these are basically, it is anxiety. Mood disorders, depression, bipolar, alcohol and substance. Again, untreated long-term anxiety, people don't know what to do. They will go for alcoholism, and this is common during pandemics. Okay. Who are most vulnerable because of COVID-19? Children and adolescents, older adults, senior citizens, pregnant women, persons with disability or mentally ill. Since World Mental Health Day theme is mental health for all, so we need to consider and look into mental health of all. So we have looked at mental health of, we said vulnerable are children. Yes, children are vulnerable because of the school closures, staying at home all the time. And some of the children don't understand what exactly is the situation. And maybe sometimes they have lost their parent, or parents are quarantined, or they themselves are quarantined. So all this can cause anxiety, worry to children. And children with physical or mental disabilities may be more vulnerable. Another part is when children living in homes with abusive relationship among the parents. That can cause more worry for these children. And as I said, children may be... Is it at your end? Rajesh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, is this voice from your end? And now
No, I think some participants end, but now it is okay, ma'am.
Okay. So grief because of loss of
मैडम आपका presentation थोड़ा सा चला गया क्योंकि because many people presented in between, तो एक बार फिर से presentation को वो कर दीजिए मैम.
कौन सा स्टार्ट से?
PPT मैम.
स्टार्टिंग से करना है?
नहीं आप उसको present form में डाल दीजिए मैम. वो फिर से चला गया actually.
Okay, 1 minute.
Meanwhile, I want to request all participants to kindly please mute yourself. If you are not able to sit at one place, kindly off your video also, and kindly do not click on a present button.
Do not click on a present.
1 minute.
Do not present in a do not click on a present button, and if suppose that due to some technical issue, if you are left the meeting and joining again, so kindly it's requested to kindly first mute yourself, off your video, and then join.
Rajesh is present, not present button is off.
नहीं मैम प्रेजेंटेशन तो ऑन है आपका, लेकिन वो क्योंकि कई लोगों ने प्रेजेंट कर दिया बीच में, तो इसलिए आपको प्रेजेंटेशन वो इसमें चला गया, तो इसलिए आपको दोबारा करना पड़ेगा मैम.
आप कर सकते हो उधर से? ठीक
है मैम, मैं कर देता हूँ यहाँ से.
हाँ. You can handle the slides. I have no problem.
ओके मैम मैं कर देता हूँ.
हाँ.
जी मैम कर दिया मैम.
अच्छा, तो I can go ahead.
यस मैम.
Okay. अभी ठीक है?
यस मैम.
Okay. So important is, since children have issues of anxiety and worry, we need to help them. How do we need to help them? Very important is, this is the time when we can have positive parenting. See, we all the time are thinking about worries and negativity. Let's look at what we can do. Actually, this is we have a lot of benefits of COVID-19. We should look at that. Particularly for children with disabilities, now parents have a lot of time to give them. Both the parents, fathers can pitch in. Otherwise, children have not seen, some of the children don't see their fathers. They go in the morning, and by the time they come, children are asleep. So that fathers, both the parents can give their time to children with difficulties, which can be very good for the growth and development and the personality development of these children. See, what has been happening is, it is either the mother or the care provider, where you take the child for services, is the one who has been handling. Here now, parents are the world for the children. For us, we have a world, adults have a world, but for children, parents are the world. Parents mediate the world to the child. Hence, if they get both the parents at home to spend some quality time, it is very, very good for children's health. Now, coming to this present situation, what is important is, children get anxiety, worry, what is happening, why my parents are at home, why should we not go to school? So what we need to do is, we need to give them information regarding this. Communication is the key. And very important point is, understand the emotional needs of children. They may not be able to communicate the worry. They may not be able to say, I'm feeling sad or worried, but they may show in their behaviors. Sometimes they show as behavior problems. So what parents and adults we need to do is, understand the emotional needs of children during this time. If it is shown expressed in a problematic behavior, I need to understand why this child is behaving like this. So that will help us to understand, and we need to provide information regarding this pandemic to children, striking a balance depending on the age, how much to give, what to explain. See, the moment children understand what is this, it is under control. I remember I went to J&K during that earthquake time, that all schools were closed and all children were staying at home. Once I called all the children to school and I was talking to them, and what we did is, we explained how earthquake occurs. So they knew, otherwise just a fear. Any noise is a fear. Night they were not sleeping. How earthquake occurs, when it can occur, why it occurs. That helped them to understand, and slowly they started coming to school. That is during the earthquake time in J&K. So what we need to do is, make our children understand. Communication is the key. We need to talk to them, answer their queries. See what happens, suppose, example, son comes at night and tells you, I think I have COVID because I have a throat problem and I have difficulty in breathing. What generally we parents do is, "Tu pagal hai kya? Tujhe kaisa COVID hoga?" This is how we wish away. We dismiss their worries, which is not correct. We need to answer their queries. We need to understand their worries, and let's not make any false promises. We need to tell the truth, because they'll come to know the truth, then they'll think parents are telling lies. So we should tell the truth, make them understand. And for particularly children with difficulties, we should have a schedule, set a schedule, and engage them in all the activities at home. There is a teaching time, there is a playing time. Play with the children, interact with children. They'll be so happy to see both the parents playing. And maintain calmness, because parents are the barometer of anxiety for children. Children may not obey, children imitate. They may not obey. We say the child does not listen to me. Most of the parents will say, but they imitate. They may not read when you tell, open the book and read. But if you take the book and read in front of them, along with them, they will also read. Children learns models from the parents and teachers. They imitate. Hence, we need to help them to remain calm by modeling so. Most of the time, what we say, children, you should not speak lies. And what we do, when the doorbell rings, tell the child, go and tell I am not there. So the child learns how to tell lies. And we keep telling, you should not tell lies. Child imitates, okay? So another important thing for the parents and the caregivers, whoever is in the family, to take care of themselves. It is important for parents and the family members to take care of themselves, particularly the parents. Because if they are not infected, if they are fine, if their mental health is good, they can make children's mental health important. So prioritize yourself as well. So me time is important. My time is important. Parents also should give time to themselves and then take care of everyone. So it can happen. We are thinking in COVID time, children are very unhappy, but positive parenting can make children with difficulties also be happy. So I just picked up this particularly to say that positive parenting in this COVID time can be very great help for the growth and development of children as well as for the parents. I was in another webinar, I was telling parents that how nice it is to get up in the morning and give a hug to the child, depending on the age, and say good morning. It relaxes the mother, it relaxes the child. So both can benefit. Adolescents are equally in trouble because of the COVID-19. They have a little different kind of issues because of this pandemic. One important thing I wish to submit here is that particularly not late adolescents, the early and the middle age adolescents, they show pseudo autonomy. They say that they are independent. Now I have grown, I'm not a kid, I know how to do, but they seek guidance. It may not be by exact words saying that, please tell me what to do, no. But they will seek guidance. But most of the time, parents think that, oh, child is grown, so I don't need to give a guidance. But they need guidance. During this time, they may be preoccupied with themselves, insecure. And since to overcome this, I said overlapping psychological problems, they may start smoking, drinking, or any of this risk, looking at the gadgets, more of the not so good porn scenes or something like that, they may be indulging in this. Some may be withdrawn and all the time afraid whether my parents will get infected or I will get infected. They may have that fear. And some may be careless. They may go out without the requisite guidelines. So we have to give guidance to them. We cannot guide them like children. You should do this. No, we have to give them guidance according to their age and level. And it had impacted their education and career choices. That leads to a lot of stress and frustration among the adolescents. Yeah, senior citizens, it's well known that we are vulnerable to COVID-19. So this knowledge and awareness that old people are susceptible to COVID infection and can have breathing difficulties or respiratory problems. And if you have comorbid conditions, which is very common among old age. So that leads, this knowledge and awareness itself causes a lot of anxiety and mental health issues. Another issue is social isolation. They cannot meet their friends, they cannot discuss, and they may not be very good at using technology for social media or social contacts. Hence, that can create issues due to COVID-19 among the senior citizens. But there are many ways of coping with this stress. We need to help. It's not necessarily professionals. All of us need to help each other and help ourselves. So one can cope with this kind of stress by biofeedback, not necessarily you need to have an equipment itself. Yeah, yes, to control your thought and you understand what is happening to you. Meditation, relaxation, physical exercise, eating proper kind of diet, having a good sleep, and social support from a distance, like generally from through online you have. So, but these older individuals may have little difficulty, but otherwise people can use all this for their own coping mechanisms. Yeah. Another vulnerable section is pregnant women. It's very important. We all know that positive mental health is very important during pregnancy, because positive mental health has an association with good delivery, with good childbirth. Otherwise, negative depression, anxiety can lead to preterm delivery, small for low birth weight, small for gestational age. And we all know studies have shown postpartum depression causing, see, the Bowlby's theory of bonding with the child, right? At the time of birth, the mother and the child are having that bond, which influences the personality development of the child. And this postpartum depression can, because the mother is not close to the child, can influence the development of the child. Now, in this COVID-19, pregnant mothers had been very apprehensive. Should they go for antenatal care? Should they go out or should they not go out? And most of the clinics were closed, so they did not know what to do. It's very important during the perinatal period, that is, prenatal checkups are required, which was a difficult situation because of the COVID-19. And then the pregnant mothers' worries, can I get infected? Should I go for a COVID test? What will happen to my unborn child if I have infection? Can I do the breastfeeding? They feel some edge. And that anxiety can cause effect on the unborn child, on the fetus. So we have to help these mothers, pregnant mothers and women, to not be so anxious. Again, as I said, it is allaying anxiety is important. So we have to tell them mental health is important for the growth and development of children, and so they should minimize those feelings. And the best way of minimizing is, see, all of us are equally vulnerable for this COVID infection. So what is important is, I keep thinking I'll get, and I keep worrying and keep in a low mode, it doesn't help. Instead, what preventive measures we all should take, if we plan that, and in case I get infection, what I have to do. So preparation of the practical steps helps us to protect ourselves and our others with us, loved ones. That is okay. Then challenges faced by people with disability during COVID-19 is that we all know that COVID-19 has disrupted human existence and human life, and it becomes much more difficult for people who are vulnerable, who have issues, or persons with disabilities, and their caretakers, the parents, because they feel, most of the time that said that they feel more burdened because their activities were shared by the professionals, by the therapists, their help was being shared. Now they alone have to do. But I still don't want to consider it as a burden. I think let's look at positive interactions, positive parenting. That may be good for children's growth and development. Yes, there are difficult times because these children may need assistance in ADL and they may not understand to maintain the hygiene rules. They may not, problem is with the special services, physio, speech, etc. may not be, but still that can be done on online at home, home-based services can be done. They are as vulnerable as others. The little difficulty comes when it is difficult to explain to these children with ID or DD about this pandemic, what it means, what is this crisis, why people are at home, why you are not going to school. But I'm sure if we try to explain at their level, they understand that there is something which we have to be take care and maintain the hygiene required. Yeah. What the government and all of us can do is There should be continuous access to their basic needs and health. Whatever welfare measures are there, like sanction of pensions or certificates, that should continue, and there should be no interrupted services for them. Yeah. Another category of people who needs services, psychological services, is frontline warriors, personnel. That may be doctors, that may be health professionals, nurses, police, and government people who are working round the clock to combat this COVID-19. We have heard many of the doctors lost their life because of this. It is the important thing is that most important is the psychoneuroimmunology. See, basically people are saying the immune system should be good to fight out the infection. Many people have good immune system, but we weaken our immune system because of emotions. The emotions of fear, emotions of anxiety leads to weaken our immune system. That is what is psychoneuroimmunology, interaction of the brain and the mind with the immune system. And once our fear and mood, sad mood and worry or stress, anxiety stays for a prolonged time, immune system becomes weak. And quite likely this is what has been happening with these health professionals who were working round the clock, had a burnout, continuously working, not their people to help them to boost their emotions, to help them to reduce their anxieties, and continued progressed anxieties and stress, reduce their immune system, weaken their immune system, which led to inability to fight with the virus. And that leads to the final thing is mortality. So we need to, what I am trying to say here is, my plea is all of us need to keep our not keep our emotions under fear, sad, low. What we say is it's better to remain much more. See, if we think of practical steps, then we don't become very emotionally low. It is important to remain emotionally up and above, happy, feeling good. What best I can do in this situation? How can I help myself? How can I help others? When we help others, you feel very happy, and that leads itself to happiness. That keep our immune system good. Okay, another problem is the domestic violence, which has increased during this time, mainly because of people living in abusive relationships, living in close confined spaces, and couldn't seek help outside. And that has led to, there are reports to say that domestic violence more against men, women and girls, which is happening. And people are finding it hard in those situations where they live in confined spaces. And because of lockdowns, economic issues also has increased this. Then people use substance, alcoholism, beat, those things can lead to this domestic violence. Generally, violence can be psychological. See, people trying to see that the other partner or somebody is infected, humiliation, or physical harm like beating, physical injury, or sexual violence of sexual act non-consented, without the consent. All these are different forms of violence. And I think what is required is, since they can't seek help outside, I think I missed it. Yeah. Oh, no. Fine. What we need is, we need to help these individuals to see that they have less time together, they engage in certain different activities, so that there is less time for these individuals to interact and be violent. Okay. Now, we all know that when you have work, not going out for work, is likely that people will get into substance abuse because of sadness, because of worry, because of fear. So there is chance of increased alcoholism and substance abuse. Now, for alcohol abuse, the best treatment, what we found is the frames. It's a brief intervention therapy. I don't know, many of you know, 5 to 15 minutes, 1 to 4 sessions can help to chronic alcoholism is very difficult to treat, but because of COVID-19, somebody has started using, we can help these individuals through this. Frames is what you have to give feedback of personal risk, that if you keep smoking, if you keep drinking, you are spoiling your health. That is the knowledge and awareness. Knowledge awareness itself doesn't help unless you bring to the person the concern about the health, concern about your own health and your own people. And then it's your responsibility. It is not the doctor who can help you. It is not the counselor. You have to help yourself. That is what I always believe. Let's not help others by making them dependent. Self-help is the best help. Make people to help themselves. The right kind of clear advice. What to do, what not to do. And menu for alternate choice. So if you are used to alcohol, can you take something else, drink something which is not unhealthy. It can be some drinking water or drinking some juice or drinking something which you like, but it is not unhealthy. And one has to show empathy towards them and help them to be self-help, self-efficacy. Similar is with the tobacco use. That's why I was going fast. That almost similar is the 5 A's model of management for tobacco use. Again, it's the 5 A's, same something similar like that. Ask, advise, assess, assist, and arrange. Ask is you take the clinical history, how often you drink, what you take, which kind of tobacco you take, how regular you are. Very clear history. Then advice has to be clear and personalized to quit. Very clear advice. Assess readiness to quit. Is the person ready? And then if not, give motivational enhancement. You have to do it. Then assist is psychological measures. What are the psychological measures to help them to become ready to quit is delay, distract, drink water, deep breathing, discuss. These D's. There are D's which can help the person to help them to use, stop smoking, stop taking that. It may start with the readiness. Once it is ready, and after readiness, if suppose somebody stops, what happens? How the friends and how everybody reacts. If his friend says, "Arey, what a nonsensical thing, why do you want to give up?" Then again he'll go back. So what is required is reinforcement and reward. The feedback given to the person once he decides to quit and after he quits is very important. So reinforcement, reward after each success is very important. And that is why you should have follow-up so that you can see what's happening and reward it. Yeah, it takes time if I have to explain. Okay, for the mentally ill, again is another problem because of the interrupted services, because of they cannot get the care what they were getting, disruption. So what we need to do is see that particularly those with severe mental illness needs uninterrupted services. Another major issue is suicide risk during COVID-19 because of anxiety, depression, prolonged depression leading to suicide, or loss of a loved one, loss of somebody that you find it hard to cope with, then suicidal risk is there. And we need to help people to prevent suicide. That means right at the warning signs, we should take care. Warning signs: acute stress, anxiety, agitated, feeling isolated. Main thing that happens in depression is mood is sad. We say triad, mood is sad. Thoughts are that of hopelessness, nihilism, worthless. I'm not useful to anything. I'm useless. That sort of thoughts, and psychomotor retardation. That is, activity also reduces. Suicidal ideations. Somebody mentions suicide, we should take it serious. It means there are some suicidal ideations, suicidal plans. And one thing I wish to bring home here is that once we put people on with suicidal ideation and depression on medication, on psychotropic drugs, pharmacological intervention, the first thing that happens is psychomotor retardation is lifted. So otherwise they want to commit suicide, but they are so inactive that they don't find it very active. Kahan jaye, kya kare, that sort of thing. So they don't commit. Once you put them on medication, I have seen many cases, but the moment medicine starts, they go and commit suicide because worthlessness, nihilism, thought disorders don't improve fast, mood does not improve fast, psychomotor retardation lifts, that is activity enhances, and then their plan, they go and carry out their plan. So this is one thing I like to bring home is every person should keep a person under observation when you start medication for suicide for some time till the thoughts and the mood disorders are also cleared. And then we need to think of prevention of suicide. Basically, what I believe is it's not that nobody wants to die. Truly speaking, nobody wants to die. But why people commit suicide is because they don't want to live. It is not the want to die. It is the no want to live. No feeling of they don't want to live. That is it. Why? Because of certain situations, certain issues. So we need to help them. It is only that one moment when a person is slipping towards suicide, if you can help, then it will be averted. So it is improve the moment. Improve is help them to improve their imagery, help them to find meaning in life, help them to peer stands for prayer, say something is above that can help you, relaxation. And one thing is that you are most important in your life. That can all love is there. Somebody is there to love you. You are important in life. So if we can see that one moment is removed, that minute. I have many people, students, there are from HCU also. Student will go up on the terrace at midnight and call me saying that now I'm in the terrace, I'm going to fall, I want to commit suicide. Now, the need to call person, maybe knows me or do not know me, still calls is because there is a still hope. They look for a hope somebody can say. But if there is nobody, then they die. So it becomes very dicey at that minute how to save the person because you are at midnight somewhere. You cannot say, hold on, I'll come. No, it is what you say for that 1 minute. That is important. I have got calls like this many times, somebody calling me unknown and saying that I want to commit suicide. And then sometimes I can follow it up and I know they have not committed. Sometimes I don't know because I don't know from the way the call came and the person may not have left the number or something. So it becomes but it's a huge emotional responsibility. You have to save a life. Or if you are not doing something right, you are not saving the life. You are doing opposite of the help. So one has to be very, very careful in these situations. And we can help people if we can help that 1 minute. Okay, we also have responsibility towards who are already infected, that is who are in ICU. They also go through a lot of anxiety. You see, a person who is infected and is on respiratory support and is in ICU is aware that mortality rate is high. Is already aware that there's something apprehending end is there. So there is a lot of mental disturbances and they are separated from their families, so they cannot even interact or get any moral support. And it is a sort of a destabilizing emotional balance of that state of helplessness and hopelessness, where we professionals should intervene to help these clients. Now, just like we do it in, children born, there's immediately children born who have some difficulty in, birth anoxia or something, they are put into these ICUs. We can help those children by different therapies. Similarly, here also, we need to help them by counseling. Yeah. Most of these pandemic issues, creating mental health issues, can be helped by psychological services. And what we need to do is to most of these individuals or families or communities, and we have looked at all the vulnerable sections, can be helped by just helping them by counseling, mainly by counseling. It can be, we can help them through relaxation exercises, dealing with angry individuals, how to, suppose somebody has lost somebody, how to break these news of death, that is preparing and giving mental support, resolve, how to solve problems. We need to see, most of the time in our life what we do is, if there are problems, we want to wish away, don't face. Best is to identify the problem, name it, find solutions, alternate choices, and act and see whether the problems can be solved. So these individuals can be helped through brief psychological interventions like guidance about health, sleep, food, relaxation, telemedicine where medicine is required for mental issues, and then telecounseling is very important in this situation, and psychosocial support from a distance. So basically it is the counseling that can help, brief counseling, guidance, supportive psychotherapy can help all these vulnerable sections for their mental health problems. So it's important to keep calm during the chaos. What I want to say is, that is again the mind, body and emotions all have to be kept so that we are in a good phase. And another thing that is happening is use of the digital platforms. A lot of people are now, we are all dependent on only the digital platforms for our functioning. So this can be enhanced. People can learn, train, and those who can't use can learn to use virtual knowledge. A lot of things are coming up. That is another important area to help people in this pandemic time. What is the policy makers need to do beyond post-COVID-19? We have to help the policymakers to be mindful of mental health of people. It is to be important, not just keep health, it is the mental health. One good thing coronavirus has done is has brought mental health on the globe. Everybody, it has brought into spotlight. Everybody now knows that there are psychological issues, there are mental health issues, and people need help. So psychological crisis or intervention or health should be integrated into their own health system, not necessarily it is a separate thing. So health, the budget should have enough for mental health. And so that we can understand the mental health status of high risk groups and prevent extreme cases like suicide. There are many researches that is, see, this is what it is. The positive side is many researchers have done a lot of research, but I want to quote only one study that is just recently reported, October 5, 2020, a survey by WHO. Anyway, now WHO has lost its credibility, so one doesn't know whether to quote or not. 130 countries where they looked at what are the mental health problems, and they found 60% reported disruptions in the mental health services to all the vulnerable sections of the society, which means it's not good. Something is not good happening as regards the mental health is concerned when we are celebrating the World Mental Health Day. Now, I wish to move. I'll take just few minutes, Rajesh, 5 more minutes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Please, ma'am.
What I wish to move is, we have been all along talking of COVID-19 pandemic and its negative effects. If we keep concentrating only on the negative mental health issues, it's again going to create fear, anxiety, worry, sadness. In order to move away from that, that is what I was saying, that if we, to remain happy, to remain, have better emotions, we need to look at the positive mental health. Positive mental health, I call it. Somehow that title hasn't come here. Positive mental health is moving from what's wrong to what's strong. We have wrong things during COVID-19, but there is a lot that has led to some strong. The whole thinking of people have changed. The lifestyle has changed. Work from home has come. Otherwise, we were all rushing on the road to reach on to office on time. Accident, unmindfulness of accident. See, the whole thinking has changed. So there is a lot of strength in it. COVID is what's going wrong. Positive mental health is what's going right. Let's concentrate on that. I want the journey to go on. Every event in life has two phases, good and bad. Coin has heads and tails. We have been looking at tails all along. Let's look at the heads, which is very good. So optimism. Few things in the world are more powerful than a positive push. That is positive mental health. A smile, a word of optimism and hope. If we keep our face towards sunshine, we can't see the shadow. But what is happening is we are all the time seeing the shadow and not looking at the sunshine. The goals of positive mental health is not to just decrease the misery, but to increase the well-being. Not to repair the worst, but build the best. Not to heal the pathology, but make lives more fulfilling. And we can cope with this pandemic through most of these positive things, like positive thinking, creative activities, install hope, reading, music, online courses, indoor plays, relaxation, yoga and meditation, exercises, prayer. All are inside, no problem, but all can help us to cope with this situation. And we can have what we call as PARMA, 5 positive things in ingredients to a flourishing and happy life. And that is why it is well-being. Positive emotions. See, we have so many positive things happen in our life that we forget. We want to concentrate on the faults of others, of our miseries. Let's look at the positive. Engagement, meaningful life, the strengths and challenges we have and how meaningful we are making our life. More interpersonal relationship. Let's look at the positive interpersonal. Let's not look at somebody whom we hate all the time. See, what I believe is, if you want to think of somebody you hate, we say, I don't want to remember that person, but you keep remembering. Selective forgetting is selective remembering. You have to remember to forget. So all the time you remember. So it is, let's look at more of the positive relationship, meaningful relationship, connecting to others in a meaningful way, having a purpose in life, meaningfulness in life, and accomplishment. We have done a lot of achievements we can accomplish. If we look at these positive 5 things, PARMA, our COVID-19 situation can be much better off. We cannot stop the virus. We cannot control the virus. That's not within our control. But we are can control myself. We are within our control. Self is within our control. The whole world is not within our control, but self is within our control. So we can make ourselves better. So it is the positive mental health, optimism, wellness, good lifestyle that can lead to it. Very, very important thing is building resilience during this COVID time. That is bouncing back to after the adversity. We need to build resilience that will lead to positive mental health. 7 C's of building resilience is, you need to have self-confidence, self-competence. You need to be connected with others. You need to have a character and contribute to the larger society, not self only. You need to contribute, cope with the situation and control. These 7 C's can help us to build resilience. And family strengths are very important in building resilience. That is commitment, communication, togetherness, sharing activities, support, acceptance, affection. So, my dear friends, Albert Einstein did quote, in the midst of every crisis lies great opportunity. Let's look at this as an opportunity to do many more good things in life and make life more meaningful and purposeful by helping everyone. That is what access of mental health to all, everyone, everywhere. So what is necessary to change a person is to change his or her awareness about himself, as Abraham Maslow indicated. So let us celebrate the World Mental Health Day in a more positive note, optimistic note. Let us not look at the COVID-19 pandemic as only a problem, a negative. Let's look at it as an opportunity, and let's look at that what best we can do in this time to help ourselves, to help everyone around, and to contribute to the larger society so that there is mental health accessibility for every individual. Thank you. Yes, thank you, my dear.
Thank you, madam. It's such a wonderful presentation we had from you, ma'am. Almost 1.5 hours you took the presentation, and with all the slides.
I didn't know the time.
It's 12:10.
Okay.
Yeah. So it very wonderful, ma'am. Now the floor is open for questions.
Okay, you can just close the laptop. I'll leave now. Thank you.
Yeah, there are some questions on the chat box. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am. And Professor T.P. Singh sir also is there, ma'am, with us today.
Okay, good. I don't see him there. Is he there?
Yes, ma'am, he's there, ma'am.
Yeah. Hi. Good morning. Good morning, sir. Yeah, I saw him. His audio may not be there.
Good morning, Dr. Arya.
Nice to see you, sir.
Nice to see you also. Yesterday I was there with them. Happy to see you today. The most gratifying thing for me to see we contemporary working in NICE, the time of those late 80s and 90s, and now
Yes.
after 40, 30 years,
Yes, sir.
2020, 2021.
Yes, sir.
And nice to see how we have moved.
Yeah.
Nice to see Himanshu Das as director. I saw a blind couple on Crorepati.
Ji.
Their child was on the hot seat.
Ji.
So how things have moved and where we have reached. It's highly
Right.
gratifying.
Yes,
And
sir.
mental health was not being talked about, not being treated a priority in rehabilitation. And I had to suffer a lot to redesignate my post from field officer to research officer, but ultimately I became lecturer clinical psychology.
Sir.
But today you see, everywhere mental health is being talked about, not because of COVID of course is there, but there is a component always related to
Yes, sir.
rehabilitation also, managing newly blind person or a parent who comes to know about his child
Ji.
who is suffering from disability.
Ji.
So I'm so nice to listen to you and very comprehensively presenting the whole perspective of mental health
Ji.
with a specific to COVID.
Yes, sir.
So thank you very much. I enjoyed 2 lectures. Yesterday I was with Dr. Chadha, today with you. But this was more gratifying because we contemporary, very happy to see the progress in the social justice empowerment and the welfare sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Very
Wish you-
nice to
wish
see
you
you.
all the best.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to see you.
Yeah, thank you.
Ma'am, we have a question from Ms. Bhavani. She says that, as you mentioned, we need to deal with
Sorry.
emotions than deal rationally. Can you throw some light on few techniques, or can you suggest some reference book for the strategies?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Bhavani has asked a question that, as you mentioned, we need to deal with emotions
Yes, sir.
that deal with rationality. Can you throw some light on few techniques, or can you suggest some reference books for the strategies?
The reference book offhand I can't. I can give you the reference books later, but I can suggest you the techniques right now. Hello, is it okay? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. The most important thing to deal with emotions is that we need to first go with empathy. Empathy is the most important technique. Listening, not hearing, listening. Listening, not the words, but the nuances of what the person is saying. To deal with emotions, that's what is the question, no? How to deal with emotions or anxiety of a person. The first thing is to listen what the person is saying. As I said, listening to all, when I say listening, I mean to say use all 5 sensory modalities to listen. That means you are seeing, you are feeling, You get the tactile sensation of the person to understand the person's stage completely. Another important thing is empathy. To go into the shoes of the person to know what the person is feeling. What Rogers and all said is, climb on the eyes of the person to see how the person is seeing the world, what misery the person is going through. Go under the skin to see what is the misery. That is empathy. Means understand exactly what is happening to the person. See, if a student comes to me and says, I am in, my love relationship is broken, hence I can't write the exam. As a teacher, generally people will think I should tell about the exam. No, that is what I was saying. Deal with emotions. I have to put myself into the shoes of this 21 years old student or boy or a girl who is in love. Love is most important in life. Education is second for that time, that age, that minute. So I have to be in that situation, empathy, to understand what, yes, if I am there, I also will say, I can't study. I have to be, I just feel depressed. My relationship is broken. So once I put myself, I then know what to do with the person. Rather than advising, अभी तो exam लिख लो, बाद में लड़की से बात कर लेंगे. No, that's not the thing. This is what is the technique: listening, empathy, going into their relationship, understanding, and then basically what happens is helping them. What we say, problem solution, finding alternate choices and looking at which is the best alternate choices. And that is what is called problem solving. So that is what these three things: listening, empathizing, and problem solving, because action has to be there. Just listening and empathizing will not lead to finally solve the problem. So problem solving. These three things will help you to solve the problem. If you want, I can give an example. It has happened. Sorry, it's okay. It happened. One client came and one student came and said, and I understood what was happening, and I just said, I listened to the person empathetically. He cried, everything happened. Then I just said, it is, see, I had to be very choosy. I interpreted the situation. I did not say love. I said, your need for her is greater than her need for you. Because the situation was, she was going with somebody else and things like that. I'm cutting short the story. And then only this interpretation. And the person could, I interpreted, your need for her is greater than her need for you. And you are crying at the spilt milk. Person had to imbibe. And there was only one day before this exam, final exam, bright student. And then the student came next day. I never said study or read. See, if he knows, if he wants to write the exam, why he has to come to me? He is finding hard to write. He needs some help. He needs some help to uplift him. I knew he has come for help, and I am not going to say about exam. I didn't say it's exam or study. I just interpreted the emotions. I dealt with the emotions. Next day he himself came. The next day was exam. I am writing the exam, and he got distinction. So this is how, when I said deal with emotions, the techniques. If you want a reference, I can't give you offhand. I don't think my memory is all that good to give you the reference books, but there are books I can give you. If you want, I can give, if you give your number, or I will give to Rajesh and he can pass it on to you.
Yes,
Good
ma'am.
morning, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. I would like to ask one question, madam.
Yes, please.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Yeah.
Ma'am, is different stages are there in suicidal ideation, or it comes suddenly?
You have to be careful, Rajesh.
Yes, ma'am.
Rajesh, you have to be careful.
Okay, definitely, ma'am.
No, it is not like this. There are stages. It can be stages. It can be. See, there is something that is disturbing a person, and the person feels low mood, And it is generally not instinctual. It is not that you think of committing suicide and you go and commit. Something has been troubling you and a person gets depressed. Depression is mostly the cause of suicide. Depression. And let me humbly submit here to this august body. Depression, people talk as a lip service. One should know what is depression. It is going into it is you feel out of the world. I wanted to know what is depression, so I prolonged myself to go into depression, and I felt that yes, people do commit suicide because of depression. And then I came out of it because I wanted to experience what it is. So what I'm saying is depression is the most common cause of, and when we say depression, it's not like anxiety. It makes you go into the other world. You feel nothing exists. You are not interested in anything of this world. That is where at the end. But at the same time, nobody wants to die. But people don't want to live. Then they want to commit suicide. So my dear friend, it is not that very rarely instinctual. Most of the time, it's not stage is fixed. But it is something that is disturbing you, try to solve, you can't, abhi to koi rasta hi nahi hai. That sort of thinking comes and then one gets into depression and then commits suicide. I hope you have no such thoughts.
Very good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am,
You should be careful. Good afternoon.
yes,
Yes.
yes ma'am. Myself is Pragati. I'm
Yes,
assistant
ma'am.
professor in clinical psychology at NIMHR.
Ma'am,
So,
one more question, ma'am.
Rajesh ji, please give me chance to interact with ma'am.
Tell me. Yeah.
Ma'am, actually, nowadays, you are aware that our department have started with the mental health helpline. And nowadays, even with our OPD patient also, we are doing the tele-counseling session most of the time. Even the video conferencing facility is not available all the time, especially with the patient who are calling on a mental health helpline.
Okay.
So, ma'am, as you said that now empathy is very important and other things are, try to feel the patient's problem with all of your senses. But ma'am, when we are on over phone, so since past 4-5 months, we are having difficulty. Though we are learning, but having difficulty to how to empathize with them properly, to how to make them understand because they are not in front of us. So, ma'am, how we will deal with these kind of a situation more effectively, especially when it is related to crisis intervention?
Yeah, very good question. My dear friend, we all see you are young. We belong to, as Dr. Singh said, the traditional time. We all thought we cannot do psychological assessment online. We all thought psychological counseling cannot be done online. But we have to change with the system. Whether I and you like or not, now the situation has forced us to do it. So we are learning. It's true, you are not able to see the facial expression, but you are able to feel what the person is saying. And if you are responding accordingly, that can help to great extent to deal with empathy. You are empathizing. Yes, empathizing with the face, yes, it gives you. I know when my patients came with the parents, with the children with ID, mother could see my eyes wet. See, my empathy is, I know mother is crying and my eyes will become wet, but mother could see. And that's very good empathy. But here you can't. When you don't have a video, you can't see. But my voice, my talk, if mother is telling the same thing, how now also while talking to you, I can feel that feel of being with you, one with you can help. See, my dear, we cannot avoid this digital platform. It is going to happen. In tomorrow, every psychological aspect will be digital. We cannot avoid because the world is changing. This COVID forced us to learn. See, with this online, we are meeting so many people in one place. Otherwise, that's the good part of it. But we will have to go with the time. We will have to change. I fully agree with you. It may sound not exactly like that, but I'm sure if we put effort, we learn those nuances, the cues the mother will get or the client will get, and will know, and will also say, I know that you are understanding my position. See, if I'm the client, you are giving me counseling. The way you talk without seeing me, I can feel you knowing or not. And I can tell you, yes, you are understanding, but this is the problem, how to help. We can do. It is, my dear, the only thing is when you are doing telecounseling or face-to-face counseling, you have to be one with them. You can't be, your own thing is gone. You are one with the client. So then that helps the client see हमदर्द, उसका दर्द बांट रहे हैं आप. That is counselor. Why we say that the client's problem will reduce? Because you have shared. Nobody else in the world can share except the counselor. So that sharing will take place by you telling me your problem. If I am that one with you, you will feel half burdenless because you feel I have shared. What we need is some, when we are in deep depression, some shoulder to cry. Here, counselor is the shoulder without seeing. So we will have to, once we start doing, my dear, we will pick up as good as face to face. It's not that when we used to go for research, my team used to say, we doctors and psychologists, they are all carrying medicines and so much thing. Villagers will cooperate. We psychologists don't carry anything. How they'll cooperate? My only answer was, don't forget yourself. Carry yourself with you. Don't leave yourself behind. We don't need to carry anything except self should be with the client. And finally, all these people used to come to us and not go to the doctors. So that your question is pertinent and relevant, but it can be solved.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Good, thank you. My friend, yes.
Anybody else on the floor would like to ask question to Saroj ma'am?
Ma'am, what is the difference between psychotherapy and psychodrama?
Ma'am, your mic is muted. Ma'am, kindly unmute it.
I think मैडम का स्टक हो गया है प्रगति मैडम.
ओके मैम का पिक्चर दिख रहा है, वीडियो इज क्लियर, बट वो माइक म्यूट है.
हैंग हो गया होगा लगता है, क्योंकि स्टिल हो गया मैडम को, फ्रीज हो गया फ्रेम.
ओके 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 ओके, बट मुझे फ्रीज हुआ नहीं दिखाई दे रहा है. इट्स मूविंग.
No, it's not freezing. Ma'am is still, but I think the mic is mute.
माइक इज म्यूट.
मैं सॉरी, मैं इंटरफियर कर रहा हूँ. मैं इसका जवाब दे देता हूँ मैडम के बदले.
जी सर.
जी सर.
जो रियल लाइफ और रियल लाइफ का डिफरेंस है, वही दोनों में डिफरेंस है, साइकोथेरेपी और साइकोड्रामा में. साइकोड्रामा भी साइकोथेरेपी का ही हिस्सा है, लेकिन उसमें कैथारसिस हम ड्रामा करा के करते हैं. अपने रिप्रेस्ड डिजायर्स को, इम्पल्सेस को, इमोशंस को री इनेक्ट करने का मौका देते हैं उसे स्टेज पे. और जब वो स्टेज पे री इनेक्ट करता है अपने सप्रेस्ड डिजायर्स, इमोशंस, अनकॉन्शियस माइंड, तब वो जाके रिलीव्ड फील करता है. तो कहीं ना कहीं एक बहुत ओपन प्लेटफॉर्म एक्सप्रेशन का देने से, तो साइको ड्रामा कोई अलग चीज नहीं है साइकोथेरेपी से, साइकोथेरेपी का ही हिस्सा है. लेकिन एक बात बता दूं कि साइको एनालिसिस जिस तरह से डोमिनेट किया स्विंग पे, उस तरह से साइको एनालिसिस अभी फिलहाल में पिक्चर में नहीं है। अभी हम ज्यादा बिहेवियर थेरेपी और सीबीटी की बात करते हैं, लेकिन साइको ड्रामा का रोल रिहैबिलिटेशन में आ रहा है, बच्चों के साथ डांस का, म्यूजिक का, ड्रामा का, तो स्पेशल नीड्स चिल्ड्रन में उनका उपयोग किया जा रहा है।
जी सर, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू फॉर द आंसर सर। राजेश जी, आपको जवाब मिल गया होगा। Madam, then shall we conclude? Now it is 12:30.
So may I ask the question, please?
Okay, please go ahead.
सर, अगर जैसे कोई डिप्रेशन में है और हम उसको कुछ सुझाव देते हैं उसकी लाइफ को बेटर करने के लिए, लेकिन सर वो समझने के लिए ही रेडी नहीं है। वो हमारे पास सॉल्यूशन के लिए आया हुआ है, लेकिन सर वो मानने के लिए ही रेडी नहीं है, अपने उस मेंटलिटी से बाहर ही नहीं निकलना चाहता, अपने दुख से बाहर नहीं निकलना चाहता। तो सर व्हाट टू डू विद दैट?
मुझे लगता है टीबी सिंह सर बेहतर इस चीज को बता पाएंगे, क्योंकि मैम का कनेक्टिविटी इशू आ रहा है।
ऐसा है, ठीक है। डिप्रेशन की बात, जहां डिप्रेशन को डॉक्टर सरोज ने बहुत बढ़िया से एक्सप्लेन किया, लेकिन डिप्रेशन प्रोलॉन्ग्ड हुआ जैसे है ना, स्ट्रेस डिस्ट्रेस डिजीज, ज्यादा देर तक स्ट्रेस अगर रहा तो वो डिस्ट्रेस दुखी हो गए, डिस्ट्रेस ज्यादा देर तक रहा तो वो रोग में बदल जाता है। तो उसी तरह से ज्यादातर डिप्रेशन के केसेस सीवियर होने पे एक सुसाइडल थिंकिंग की बात आती है, और सुसाइडल थिंकिंग का पाथवे अब पता चल गया है कि पहले आइडिएशन होता है, फिर अटेम्प्ट होता है, उसके बाद सक्सेसफुल सक्सीडर्स बोलते हैं, आइडिएटर्स, अटेम्प्टर्स। गड़बड़ हो रही है आवाज में।
नहीं सर, क्लियर है सर, आप क्लियर है सर, आप प्लीज कंटिन्यू करें सर। जी।
तो डिप्रेशन में देखिए, लॉस ऑफ इंटरेस्ट, वर्क।
सर प्लीज, लिंक ओपन नहीं हो रहा है।
मैडम एक मिनट, मैडम क्वेश्चन का आंसर दे रहे हैं सर, जरा वो सुन लीजिए।
मैं जवाब दे देता हूँ। जैसे उन्होंने बताया कि आउट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड हो जाता आदमी।
हेलो, sorry sir, we are interrupting you. Actually your link is not opening, so please resend it.
That we will take it sir. पहले सर को उनका जवाब का आंसर देने दीजिए, प्लीज डू नॉट डिस्टर्ब इन बिटवीन। यस सर।
Okay, but
yes sir.
Is this the link you are looking for?
सर आप कंटिन्यू करें सर जवाब।
हाँ, उधर उन्होंने बताया ना, दुनिया से कट जाता आदमी, और दुनिया से कट जाने के बाद अपने आप से अलग थलग हो जाना, और उस अलग थलग होने के हालात को सामान्य में लाना साइकोलॉजिकली ही इंटरवेंशन है डिप्रेशन का। और ये स्टेक होल्डर्स को देखना है, परिवार में, स्कूल में, हॉस्टल में, ऑफिस में, कि आदमी क्यों अलग थलग हो रहा है, एलिनिएट क्यों हो रहा है। और उसके बाद जो बहुत गंभीर हालत में आती है, तो सुसाइड की बात जब आई तो उसको हम लोगों ने पाथवे, जब रिसर्चेस ने बताया है कि पहले आइडिया आता है, उसके बाद आदमी अटेम्प्ट करता है, उसके बाद सक्सीड। अब इसी को उन लोगों ने कहा जी आइडिएटर्स, अटेम्प्टर्स एंड सक्सीडर्स। तो ये जो बीच का स्टेज है ना, इनिशियली और बीच का स्टेज, वो क्लिनिकली बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है कि बीच में आती है बात की बात करो, शेयर करो। क्राइसिस इंटरवेंशन सेंटर जितने भी सुसाइड के हैं, वो सिर्फ मेरे बात करने का मन नहीं कर रहा है, वो कहेगा नहीं भाई हम भी आपके साथ सुसाइड करेंगे, लेकिन हमसे दो बात बताओ ना, क्यों सुसाइड करना चाहते हो। उस 2 मिनट के खेल में, एक 60 मिनट के खेल में सारी बात बताने में उसका विचार बदल जाता है, इंटरवेंशन उतना ही वहां काम आ जाता है। तो बड़ा उन्होंने बताया कि जैसे इम्पल्सिव है, ऑल ऑफ ए सडन है, वैसे ही होता है। लेकिन कोई इंटरवेंशन मिल गया तो बात वहीं रुक जाती है। तो ये इंटरवेंशन डिप्रेशन और सुसाइडल थिंकिंग दोनों के क्रम में चलता है, और टेली काउंसलिंग इसमें मदद करता है कि वेस्ट में, अमेरिका जैसे देश में सुसाइडल लोगों के थिंकिंग को कम करने के लिए क्राइसिस इंटरवेंशन सेंटर डिस्ट्रिक्ट स्टेट लेवल पे बहुत अवेलेबल है, और थोड़ा थोड़ा प्रयास यहाँ भी हो रहा है कि अगर आपको ऐसे विचार और ख्यालात आते हैं तो जरूर बात करें विशेषज्ञ से क्राइसिस इंटरवेंशन सेंटर पे।
सर मुझे सॉरी सर ये प्रोसेस सर इंट्रोवर्ट जो पर्सनैलिटी होती है सर उनके साथ में बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है जानना, उनको समझना। एक तो वो खुद ही अंदर अपनी बात को नहीं बता पाते हैं, और फिर उनके अंदर जब ये इस तरीके से डिप्रेशन या किसी ऐसे क्राइसिस की वजह से जब सुसाइडल सोचने के लिए आते हैं, वो लोग डिप्रेशन में आते हैं, तो बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है उनके साथ में डील करना, जो इंट्रोवर्ट टाइप के लोग होते हैं।
नहीं,
तो हमें
उसमें
एक्स्ट्रा
देखिए सुनो बात सुनो हमारी। एक क्लिनिकल डिप्रेशन है, डिप्रेशन तो सिम्प्टोमेटिकली माइल्ड, मॉडरेट, सीवियर 3 डिग्री की हो गया ना। ये जो आप बात कर रहे हो क्लिनिकल डिप्रेशन है। ये डिप्रेशन सिर्फ बातचीत से, साइकोथेरेपी से नहीं ठीक होना है। कहीं कहीं हमको मान लेना है कि भाई दवाओं की जरूरत पड़ेगी। अब जैसे कोई स्किज़ोफ्रेनिक अटैक के बाद आपके पास आया है पहले एपिसोड में, और आप कहो कि हम उसको बातचीत में ठीक कर लेंगे, नहीं, पहले उसको ड्रग से मैनेज करके जब वो बात समझने लायक हो जाता है, सुनने लगता है, तब हम साइकोथेरेपी के सेशन में उसको बैठा पाते हैं। तो जो क्लिनिकल डिप्रेशन है उस लेवल की, जहाँ की वो बिल्कुल कट गया है, खाना पीना, काम करना, परिवार के लोगों से अलग थलग, बात करने में भी रुचि नहीं है, इंट्रोवर्ट हो या एक्सट्रोवर्ट है, 2 बात बोलेगा तो ना मैं ये हूँ, आज खाना नहीं खाया, मेरा ये नाम है, मेरा ये पता है, इतना भी नहीं बोल रहा है। इसका मतलब है कि डिप्रेशन का लेवल उसमें माइल्ड या सीवियर लेवल पे आ गया है। क्लिनिकली उसको मैनेज कर लेने के बाद ही आप साइकोथेरेपी या काउंसलिंग में ले सकते हैं। इस बात को बड़ा ध्यान से अपने दिमाग में रखिए। साइकोलॉजिस्ट हैं इसलिए हम हर प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व कर लेंगे मानसिक स्वास्थ्य या मनोरोग का, ऐसा नहीं है।
जी सर।
जैसे सीवियर मेंटल इलनेस है, बायोपोलर और स्किज़ोफ्रेनिया, उसके इनिशियल फेज में आप कुछ नहीं कर पाएंगे जब तक थोड़ा उसको स्टेबलाइज नहीं किया जा रहा। स्टेबलाइज कर लेने के बाद जब जरूरत होती है, खुद आपको साइकियाट्रिस्ट रेफर करते हैं। अब इनकी बात समझिए भाई, क्या जिंदगी के हालात और परेशानी से इस अटैक में फंस गई है, कैसे उसको मैनेज किया जाए। तो 2 रिसर्च में वो बता रहा हूँ कि ये झगड़ा बढ़ गया कि दवा ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है कि साइकोथेरेपी बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट है। दोनों ग्रुप पे रिसर्च हुआ तो 3 ग्रुप बनाए गए, एक को साइकोथेरेपी, एक को ड्रग, एक ग्रुप को डिप्रेशन के खाली साइकोथेरेपी और ड्रग दोनों दिए गए। मोस्ट सक्सेसफुल 85% सक्सेसफुल रिजल्ट जो आया वो ड्रग सपोर्टेड विद साइकोथेरेपी में मिला। तो ये बड़ा काट के हम लोग बांट के देखते हैं कि भाई वो तो दवा का मामला है, हम क्यों डील करें। नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है। दवा के साथ साइकोथेरेपी दी जाती है। सीबीटी अगर दिया गया तो सीबीटी बिल्कुल ड्रग की तरह फायदा करता है डिप्रेशन में। ये एस्टेब्लिश्ड फैक्ट और इंपेरिकल एविडेंस भी रिसर्चेज में आ चुके हैं। ठीक है, आप
जी सर, थैंक यू।
मैं लगता है आपकी बात का जवाब दे पाया हूँ।
यस सर, यस सर।
क्लियर अभी भी नहीं है तो या आई होप क्लियर है।
थैंक यू।
क्लिनिकल में कभी अपना दिमाग मत लगाओ, जहां देख लो कि इतना लेवल हाई है डिप्रेशन का, क्योंकि उसके स्केल बन गए हैं। अब तो बन गए क्या, पहले से भी हैं, बड़े इंपॉर्टेंट बेक के हैं, हैमिल्टन के हैं, रेटिंग स्केल्स हैं। क्लिनिकली भी देखने से आप उसमें बिहेवियर लिखे हुए रेट करके देखो तो वो ज्यादा आएगा। और क्लिनिकल लेवल के डिप्रेशन में इट शुड गो टू ए साइकियाट्रिस्ट। क्लिनिकल साइकोलॉजी जबरदस्ती हाथ लगा के डिस्टर्ब करोगे, गलत काम हो जाएगा।
जी सर, थैंक यू सर।
ओके
Okay, thank you sir. I hope Ramachandran sir is there. Ramachandran sir?
Yes ma'am.
अच्छा, okay sir. You were not visible.
रामचंद्रन सर, जयचंद्रन सर चेन्नई में हुआ करते थे हम लोगों के साथ के।
हाँ सर, अभी भी है सर, वो चेन्नई में ही है।
मीटिंग में तो नहीं है। रामचंद्रन सुन के मुझे कुछ गलतफहमी जयचंद्रन जैसी हो रही है।
जी सर, जी सर, जी सर।
अच्छा, वो कहाँ सरोज चली गई क्या?
नहीं सर, मैडम है, लेकिन कनेक्टिविटी से
चलो फिर तो आप सबको गुड बाय बोले। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
जी मैम, जी सर, जी सर। प्रगति मैम, आप वोट ऑफ थैंक्स बोल दीजिए, और सीआरसी गोरखपुर से जो साइन लैंग्वेज इंटरप्रेटर है उनका भी धन्यवाद कर दीजिए मैम, प्लीज। थैंक यू।
ओके। Thank you so much. Thank you so much to join with us. Thank you so much, Dr. Saroj Arya ma'am. We actually got enlightened and got बहुत ज़्यादा हमको knowledge और information मिली है और आप लोग जैसे senior लोगों का जो है हमको knowledge share करने का यहाँ आपके बारे में जानने का मौका मिला है. Thank you so much TB सिंह सर, आपने इतना support किया हमको और आपकी knowledge definitely आप लोग living legend हैं फील्ड में और वेबिनार के थ्रू हमने कहा ना कि कोरोना की बहुत सारी नेगेटिव चीजें हैं, बट ये एक बहुत बड़ी पॉजिटिव चीज है कि हम लोग इतने सीनियर लोगों से इंटरेक्ट कर पा रहे हैं. अदरवाइज हमारे लिए मुश्किल होता है इस टाइम पर अगर टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं होती तो थैंक यू सो मच टीबी सिंह सर, थैंक यू सो मच CRC गोरखपुर टू प्रोवाइड अस द साइन लैंग्वेज इंटरप्रेटर जिसकी हेल्प से हियरिंग इम्पेयर्ड पर्सन विथ हियरिंग इम्पेयरमेंट भी इस पूरे वेबिनार को समझ सके हैं और इसका फायदा ले सके हैं. थैंक यू सो मच फॉर दैट. Thank you so much, Ramachandran sir, who has very effectively managed the session and coordinated, and who had invited Saroj ma'am as a speaker, जिससे कि हम सभी लोगों को बहुत फायदा हुआ है. Thank you so much all the participants, and thank you so much all people, and especially who have interacted and participated very actively in the session. Thank you so much all.
प्रगति मैम कल का सेशन का भी बता दीजिए.
Okay, so definitely we will share it in a group, but now also we are sharing that tomorrow we have a session from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. That the topic of the session or the webinar will be the suicide, exclusively for suicide prevention. Dr. Lakshmi Vijay Kumar will be the speaker of the tomorrow's session. She was very instrumental in policy making related to the suicide prevention. So definitely we will get benefited with that. We will share the Google link in a group, and if anybody will not get the link, they can personally contact Ramachandran sir or myself. We will provide it to them. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Thank you ma'am. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes.
सर हम आपको कैसे कांटेक्ट करें पर्सनली, जैसे अभी मैम ने बोला है कि लिंक